Welcome. Today I'm super excited. I have Nick Sinanan as guest in the house. He's expert for champions mindset. Great to have you here.
Thanks for having me, Gregor.
When we started our conversation, you told me that there is a small edge between corporate doping, between getting things done really well and boost the energy, boost the results, make it really sharp, and on the other hand, if you do it too much, it's like, and then it's a total fail. So
right.
how can you match it? How can you match it so precisely?
That's right. So I had the honor and privilege to spend more than 25 years in elite sports, working with athletes and talents on their way to the Olympic Games. And I had the pleasure to work with some of the top players over the last 25 years. And in professional sports, you have all these means and measures when to interfere in terms of if there's an overtraining or if there's too little or you're prone to injury or you should focus on your nutrition in relation to your recovery. And so this knowledge I used for more than 15 years to transfer it into the corporate world, because there as well we have this high performance will to boost a project or to launch a product. And on the other hand, it's still run by human beings. So we're dependent on our performance and on the other hand, our recovery. So I had the honor and privilege to do some kind of workshops with some of the Ivy League universities to make sure before I reach my limitations in terms of burnout, what are the precautions I should take in terms of recovery or my own energy level. And this is more or less just one-on-one what we do in professional sports. On the other hand, I'm very happy because many executives, they have a sports background. So it's very easy for them or for us to really come together and talk, because it's, at the end of the day, it's a similar scenery as I prepare somebody to bring their peak performance on game day.
Yeah, but what I think is so fascinating for me is you are working on one hand one-to-one, but on the other hand you are working on one-to-many. Mm-hmm. So in a group situation, so like a real team leader or sports trainer, and especially in corporation, every department is a team. Every department has some kind of goals. Every department has some kind of success, of benchmarks, of for things they want to achieve. How do you do that?
It's basically, it starts from the very beginning. So first of all, with a team, you need to make sure that you have and you follow the same core values. So starting from this point, especially with executives, so you need to make sure that everyone's on the same page before you start. Because you have alphas, you need to motivate them that they're able to reach their full potential. On the other hand, you have these highly motivated alphas where you should pay attention on their capacities in terms of burnout, let's say.
So mindset work is also a value set work.
Definitely, yeah. So you need to define the core values to figure out, okay, what's the aim of each individual. So even in a group setting, you need to have an idea on who's who in this game. So to make sure, is this person on the right position, or it might be better for the end product, the final product, that we switch positions.
And so it's like in a sports team, if it's very clear for you who has which mindset, then you can better map them to team forces and reach the final goal.
That's right. Sometimes
that's a fantastic picture. I like it.
Sometimes even for high potential, which were labeled as talents. So as I was always labeled as a talent in my sports career, sometimes it's difficult for them to really identify their goal, their end goal. not a mean goal like
in between goal.
Yeah. So, and that's really delicate to figure out, okay, why do I do it? Why do I want to do it? Am I the right person or am I the family person? So it might be troublesome if I boost my career in the corporate world, because from inside out I'm a family person. So, and you need to
what I like is you have an example, especially for a team that goes, for example, into a foreign environment in a situation which doesn't look too good.
Mm-hmm. I have some from the last 25 years, but there is one I guess most of the spectators will remember. So we had a historical event in 2014 at the FIFA World Cup in Brazil, where the German team was facing Brazil. Very motivated, huge crowd supporting the Brazilian team. And it was very interesting to see how the Germans started on this pitch, because they had a lot to do beforehand in preparation on getting grounded before even kickoff. So what they trained and had in mind, that they anticipated the victory already before the first ball went. And then, as some might remember, we had this historical result, 7 versus 1. Could be dependent on the injury beforehand of this striker Neymar. But it was a historical moment. And this is dependent on you try to imagine a setup in a, as you say, very unpleasant environment where everybody's against you, and you turn this, you flip this, and you start flipping it here at first hand. So
and
that's
this
the
is
art.
something that I can learn with you.
I hope.
That sounds very, very impressive.
You're the one who's in charge of turning the screws.
Mm. You have also a social project.
Oh yes. I had the honor to attend many charities over the last, I would say, 15 years. Mostly were related to cancer charities in the US. And as I do have a real connection, which I didn't work on for the last 20 years. So I was in my own preparation for the Olympics 2000, and I got injured, and we set with a group of highly talented athletes on our way to the Olympics in Sydney. And so we lost a friend because she voluntarily lost this planet while drowning at a beautiful beach. And at the beginning of this year, I was asked to take over a global refugee project where we secondary focus on trauma therapy, because many refugees come into Europe. They have bad experience in terms of water, because either way they're directly affected to water, or they know someone who lost their lives while coming here. And I took over this global concept to open an opportunity for refugees firsthand to get in touch with an environment where water is involved. It's got nothing to do with swimming or getting to a professional level in swimming or the Olympics, which could be an asset as well, because we've seen that for the Games in 2016. But more or less to override this trauma, which is still consistent in their brain, override this with positive pictures. And this is exactly what we do in professional sports. If you've got a complex shoulder injury and you want to get back on track as a volleyball player, you got to get into this moment and get to this point where you are able, because you have so many positive images right now, and they override this trauma.
So water generally is a synonym for emotions. Mm-hmm. And now here what we do is we reconnect to a traumatic or unpleasant situation that is like an obstacle, and then you recode it so that it's still here, but the pain will be released and you can just accept it. But it's filled already with a new approach. It's like a change of perspective that you get, and then you can continue. And that's exactly what I see in a lot of corporations as well. There are situations, for whatever reason, it's a little bit, and then when you see that there is this energy that's against it, and you want to make it harder and fight it a bit harder back, it's a loss of energy. But if you can accept it and see it from a different perspective, then there might be a different result. Am I right?
Yeah, you always get two options. So either way, the hard way to really fight, or flight, or freeze. So sometimes the result is way better to just breathe, clear your mind, and focus on what's around you. If it's only in your head, or if it's real. If it's a real threat, okay, you have fight or flight. But if it's just the threat inside your map, which is not override with the actual condition, so then you'd carry all these heavy loads with you from your ancestors, let's say. So, and that's the first thing, to really change these pictures and to change the perspective where you want to go.
And open a path for your own future to make a different move into whatever direction you want to go.
Correct.
So if you want to reach out to Nick Sinanan, go to his website, get in touch, ask for a conversation, tell him what you want, and you will probably find an interesting approach you were not aware of it and can connect deeper. You can also connect with him on LinkedIn, you can go on Facebook, or you can go on Instagram. Subscribe our YouTube channel and stay tuned. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much for having me.